She had been living in that manor for a year, and no one had seen her. This was not an exaggeration. So close to London, in an estate this vast, for this long, and not a single person outside knew the name Nora Vane. The mail arrived, but not in Nora's name. Visitors came, but they did not see Nora. Carriages moved, but Nora did not ride in them. You did not have to die to become a ghost. Sometimes, it was enough simply to accept not being seen. Nora had accepted it. A year ago, with her eyes open, knowing the reason. And that reason still held, at least it had held yesterday. Yesterday morning, a letter had come from her sister, small, handwritten, as always. Today, it had not. It was not the first time a letter had been delayed. But something was different today. Nora could not fully explain it. A feeling. A lightness, as if something had been cut. Like a thread, stretched tight and holding everything together, and now gone. Nora stood at the window. She looked outside, the gravel road, the distant woods, the gray November sky. Nothing moved. That was not unusual. But today, it felt unmoving. The Duke came downstairs at 8 in the morning, every day, at the same time. Nora knew this. In a year, one learned such things, which step creaked, at what hour the scent of coffee rose from the kitchen, when the Duke returned with news that made him fall silent at dinner. Small things. But small things, over time, became the only reliable map. Nora sat at the table. In front of her were the account books from the previous evening, records of the manor's expenses, fuel purchases, kitchen stock. The work of an assistant house manager. Nora did it well, because she did not know how to do it any other way. We'll take a very short break. If you don't want to miss new stories, please subscribe to the channel. The Duke entered. "Good morning," Nora said. "Good morning." The Duke took his coffee and drank it standing. He always did this, before sitting. Whether it was a habit or a thoughtful ritual of the morning, Nora had never asked. Silence. "Was there a letter?" Nora asked. The Duke set his cup down. "No. There wasn't one yesterday either." "I know." Nora looked at him. His face was unreadable, as it always was. But unreadable faces could be read, in time. And today, there was something. Very small, very quick. But it was there. "I ask every day," Nora said. "Every day, you say no. Because every day, it is no. For 2 weeks." The Duke sat at the table. He looked at the papers in front of him, not at Nora. That, too, meant something. When the Duke did not want to speak, he did not avert his gaze, he fixed it. But when he did not want to look, he turned away. "The post can be delayed," he said. "The roads, this season." "For 2 weeks, Nora repeated. "Cecily has never gone 2 weeks without writing." Silence. The Duke picked up his coffee. Set it down. Picked it up again. A small, involuntary hesitation. Nora saw it, and something inside her tightened. "If you know something," Nora said, her voice steady but carrying something beneath it, "I want you to tell me." "I don't know anything." "Your face says otherwise." The Duke looked at her. This time, directly, fully. "Nora." It was unusual for him to say her name. He usually said, "Ms. Vane." A name removed a distance, and when distance was removed, something important usually followed. "Cecily is safe," the Duke said. Nora waited. "That is all I can say for now." "That is all," Nora repeated. "That is all you can say." She stood. "I have been in this house for a year. The mail is monitored, the carriages move with permission, the door was locked every night at 10 until I objected. I accepted this, because I knew the reason. She paused. But if there is no word from my sister, and you say, that is all I can say, then that reason is no longer enough. The Duke did not rise. Sit, he said. No. A moment passed. The Duke looked at Nora, that heavy, measuring gaze. Nora did not step back. Very well, he said at last. Cecily moved 3 days ago. We relocated her, to another place, a safer one. The address changed, and the new one has not yet reached you. Why didn't you ask me? There was no time. There was no time, Nora repeated. There was no anger in her voice, something colder than anger. You moved my sister, and you did not ask me. She is safe. That is not enough. The room fell silent. The Duke stood. He looked at Nora, and this time, there was no calculation, no weighing. There was something else. Nora could not fully read it. Was it fatigue? Regret? Or something deeper? You are right, the Duke said. I am sorry. 2 words. Short, plain. But they were from him, and in a year, Nora had learned that this man did not apologize. Nora said nothing. The new address will arrive tomorrow, the Duke said. It will be given to you directly. This will not happen again. Nora looked at him. For a long time. Then she sat. In the afternoon, she was in the library. This, too, was a habit, 2 hours in the afternoon, after the accounts. Nora read, sometimes wrote, sometimes simply sat. The rest of the manor did not seek her during these hours. Mrs. Pelham knew, the cook knew, the servants knew. The Duke knew as well. But when the door opened today, it was him. Nora looked up. He did not step inside, he stood at the threshold. I am disturbing you. No, Nora closed her book. Come in. He entered. He looked at the shelves, as he always did first. Nora knew this as well. In this room, the Duke was different, less closed. Books sometimes opened people, thinned their walls. I want to ask you something, he said. Ask. How do you feel, about being here, about this year? Nora had not expected that. She looked at him. Why are you asking? Because you were right this morning. And when you are right, we are usually standing on the surface of something larger. Nora thought. Honestly. Ambivalent, she said. I am safe here. Cecily is safe. That is why I came, and that has been achieved. She paused. But being safe is not the same as being free. The Duke watched her. You know that, Nora said. Don't you? The difference. A long silence. I do, the Duke said. And in his voice, very faint, very low, there was something. Not recognition, but confession. An admission of something about himself. Do you feel it too? Nora asked. Ambivalence? The Duke walked to the window. He looked outside. This house is large, he said. And empty. Technically, it was full, servants, duties, obligations. But it was empty. He turned. When you came, it filled. I do not know exactly how. But I noticed. Nora said nothing. That, the Duke said, was a confession. I probably should not have said it. Why did you? Because this morning I apologized, and it was not enough. An apology is a beginning, but by itself, it does not repair anything. Nora watched him. She had observed this man for a year, every morning, every evening, in every silence. And now, this man standing not at the threshold but in the middle of the room, speaking something of himself by the window, she did not know him. Or she did. She had simply not seen him. "The new address will arrive tomorrow," Nora said. "Yes. And this will not happen again. I gave my word." Nora stood. She placed the book back on the shelf. "Then," she said, "we can speak tomorrow." "Not today." The Duke inclined his head. "Fair." Nora walked to the door. As she passed, she paused, not beside him, but slightly apart. "Duke." "Yes. You said this house was empty." She paused. "It was the same for me. Before I came." She left the room. The Duke remained alone in the library. Outside, there was wind, the window panes trembled softly. A distant branch swayed. The Duke looked at the shelf. The book Nora had just returned was not quite aligned, it leaned slightly. He went to it, adjusted it. Then he did not withdraw his hand. For a moment, it rested on the spine, his fingers there. Then he pulled back. Turned. Left the room. Late at night, Nora sat in her room. The candle burned. In front of her lay paper, a letter to Cecily, unwritten. The beginning had been erased and rewritten many times, each attempt falling short. "Cecily. There has been no word for 2 weeks, and I." She stopped. "And I what?" "I was afraid." That was true. It could be said. "I questioned everything." That was also true. But beneath it, there was something else, harder to name. "And I have been here for a year, and this house has begun to feel familiar, and that frightens me, because it is harder to leave places that feel familiar." The pen stopped. This could not be written. Cecily did not know, none of it. She did not know the Duke, the library, the mornings at the same table. Cecily only knew that she was safe. And for now, that was enough. Nora folded the paper and set it aside. She extinguished the candle. She sat in the dark for a while. Outside, in the manor, somewhere within that vast stone building, the Duke was likely awake as well. Nora knew this, because in a year one learned such things. Sometimes, around 3 in the morning, light would glow from the study window, and when that light went out, dawn would be near. 2 people who did not sleep. Under the same roof. Both of them hiding something. Tomorrow, Nora thought. We were going to talk tomorrow. But what exactly would be said tomorrow, she did not know. And not knowing kept her awake that night. The visitor arrived in the afternoon. Nora was in the library, they had said tomorrow, but tomorrow had come, and the Duke had been in his study since morning, the door closed, and Nora had not opened it. Sometimes waiting was the right thing. Sometimes people needed time to prepare, not for what they would say, but for what they would hear. She saw the carriage from the window. Black, single horse, fast. It stopped at the manor entrance. A man stepped out, middle-aged, dark coat, no hat. He walked quickly. He did not go to the main door, he went straight to the side entrance, as if he knew. Nora closed her book. She did not recognize the man. But strangers coming to the manor and entering through the side door, this did not fit the patterns Nora had learned in a year. She stood. When she stepped into the corridor, she heard voices, low, quick. Light seeped from beneath the study door, and 2 voices came from inside. Nora stopped. She did not want to listen. But she heard her name, clearly. Is Nora Vane still here? The Duke's voice, yes. How long have you known? Known what? Cecily. Her sister. Why she is here. Silence. Nora held her breath. Explain, said the Duke. The man's name was Harlan. Nora learned this from the slight gap of the door, later, when the Duke opened it. But now the door was closed, and Nora stood in the corridor, hands at her sides, listening. Cecily Vane, Harlan said, has been working with us for 6 months. Indirectly. She carries information, small things, but in the right hands, they grow. Whose hands? My hands. There is a group in Parliament, they know you as well, Hale. They are targeting you. Cecily was a servant in the house of someone inside that group, she passed along what she heard. And Nora? Nora doesn't know. Cecily didn't tell her, she wanted to protect her sister. If Nora had known, she would have tried to stop her. Nora's hands tightened. Why did Cecily stop? The Duke asked. No letters for 2 weeks. Because the man inside grew suspicious. We moved Cecily, she is safe, as I said. But now that man is after something else. A brief pause. After Nora. Silence. The Duke did not speak. As long as Nora is here, she is safe, Harlan said. You already knew that, that's why you brought her. But it's no longer enough. The man is getting closer. And Nora needs to know why she is here, she needs to know the truth. I'll tell her. Hale. Harlan's voice sharpened. You haven't told her for a year. There was no time. You don't get to say there was no time. Short, cutting. That woman has been a prisoner in this house for a year. With good intentions, yes. But a prisoner. Nora stepped toward the door. Stopped. Then knocked. Silence inside. Come in, said the Duke. Nora opened the door. 2 men looked at her. The Duke, standing by the fireplace. Harlan, seated, turning toward her, his expression shifting when he saw her. It was not recognition, it was calculation, placing her, understanding where she fit. Nora did not look at either of them at first. She stepped into the room. Closed the door. Then looked at the Duke. I heard, she said. The Duke said nothing. I heard all of it. Harlan stood. Ms. Vane, this. Sit, Nora said. Her voice was flat. Harlan sat, almost surprised, as if he had not expected it. Nora looked at the Duke. You brought me here to protect me, she said. From the beginning. The assistant house manager story. It was real, the Duke said. The work was real. But it wasn't the real reason. The Duke did not answer. That, too, was an answer. Nora walked to the window. She looked outside, the gravel road, the distant woods. The view she had watched for a year. The thing she had believed was safe, chosen, hers. Why didn't you tell me? Because if I had, you wouldn't have come. You're right. She turned. I wouldn't have. And that was my right. The Duke's face tightened, slightly, but it was there. There was someone dangerous outside. Keeping you safe. Keeping me safe, Nora cut in, has to be my decision. Not someone else's. She paused. Do you understand that? Silence. Harlan shifted, wanted to speak, didn't. The Duke looked at her. For a long time. And Nora had learned that look in a year, measuring, calculating. But now it was different. Something inside it resisted, struck something solid and came back. I understand, the Duke said. You understand now? Yes. Now. Nora stepped closer. And Cecily? Harlan spoke. Cecily is safe. We moved her. I heard that. Nora turned to him. Cecily has been carrying information for 6 months. Was she doing that for me? To protect me? Harlan hesitated. Partly. Partly. She saw the situation. She saw the system protecting you, and she stepped into it. To help you, and to help us. Nora said nothing. 2 sisters. Both trying to protect the other. Both without speaking. Both with good intentions. Both doing it wrong, carrying it alone. I need to speak to Cecily, Nora said. The new address will arrive tomorrow, the Duke began. Today. The Duke looked at her. Today isn't possible. The road. Duke. He stopped. Nora looked at him, directly, without retreat. I have been here for a year. Moved without being asked, monitored, protected. Now my sister is in danger, and I will not be asked to wait again. Silence. Today, Nora said. The Duke looked at Harlan. Harlan shrugged. 2 hours if the weather holds. The Duke turned back to Nora. All right, he said. While the carriage was being prepared, Nora went to her room. She took her coat. Her gloves. A bag she had not opened in years, small, leather, with only a few things inside. Being ready to move was a habit. All her life, from one place to another, light, fast. Here, she had grown heavier. She had not noticed when it happened. Was it the shelf in the library, her hand reaching for books without thinking? The breakfast table, sitting becoming routine? Or that sentence from the Duke at the window, asterisk this house was empty, asterisk. She had grown heavier. And heavy things were harder to carry. She closed the bag. Left her room. The Duke was waiting by the door. Not on horseback, but in the carriage. That surprised Nora. You're coming too? Yes. Why? The Duke looked at her for a moment. Because this is my mistake. And I do not make others carry the consequences of my mistakes. Nora watched him. And, the Duke added, quieter, I moved Cecily. It is better she hears it from me. Nora said nothing. She stepped into the carriage. The Duke followed. They sat across from each other. They had sat like this before, not on the road north, but similar. A narrow space, 2 people, unsaid things. The carriage moved. They traveled in silence for a while. The road was rough, the carriage jolting. Outside, trees passed, bare branches, November stripped clean. How long have you known? Nora asked. About me. The truth. The Duke looked at her. From the beginning. So when I arrived. You saw the assistant house manager position. You applied. When I saw your application, I looked into you. The Duke paused. I already knew Harlan then. He did not point to you, but to the one threatening you. I made the connection. And you hired me. Yes. Without telling me. Yes. Nora looked out the window. You meant well. Yes. That's not enough. I know. The Duke's voice was even, but heavy. I knew it a year ago, too. But I told myself, if she is safe, later she will understand. And when she understands, she will forgive. And now? Now I do not expect forgiveness. I only wanted you to hear it. Nora turned. looked at him. "And you," she said, "what have you felt for a year? Carrying this?" The Duke met her gaze. For a long moment. "Wait," he said at last. "More, every day." "Why carry it?" "Because letting it go felt heavier." Cecily was in a small house. On the outskirts of town, on a narrow street. When she opened the door, she was startled at first, then she saw Nora, and her expression changed. Joy, guilt, both at once, Nora could not tell. "Sister." Nora embraced her. They stayed like that for a long moment. Cecily was trembling, slightly, involuntarily. Nora held her. Holding a sister was nothing else, it had never been anything else. Then Nora pulled back. She looked at Cecily's face. "Why didn't you tell me?" Cecily looked away. "I didn't want to frighten you." "Cecily. It was already enough on you. The manor, that man, everything." "Cecily." Nora took her hand. "Don't ever do that again. Whatever happens." Cecily looked at her. "A promise?" "We both promise." "All right?" Silence. Then Cecily lowered her head. "All right." When they stepped inside, the Duke remained at the door. Nora noticed, she turned back. He stood at the threshold, not entering. "Come," Nora said. "This is yours. Come." The Duke stepped inside. Cecily looked at him. The Duke looked at her. For a moment, not like strangers, but like two people who had carried something in common and now set it down. "Ms. Cecily," the Duke said. "I apologize. I built the system that put you in danger, indirectly, but still." Cecily looked at him. Then at Nora. Nora inclined her head slightly. Cecily turned back. "You protected my sister," she said. "I know that. It wasn't enough." "No," Cecily said. "But it was a beginning." On the way back, it had grown dark. The carriage moved toward the manor, the same road, the same trees, but everything felt slightly different. Nora knew this, the same landscape changed when seen with different eyes. The Duke did not speak. Neither did Nora. But this silence was different from before. The old silence had been full, things hidden inside it, pressure. This silence was the quiet of something released. Not heavy, but resting. When the manor came into view, Nora looked. Gray stone, lamps lit. Mrs. Pelham was surely wondering. The cook was probably keeping the food warm. Home, Nora thought. Then paused. She had not thought it consciously. But she had thought it. Home. The carriage stopped. The Duke stepped down, held the door. Nora stepped out. Her feet touched the stone. Before entering, the Duke turned. "Nora." She waited. "We were going to speak tomorrow," he said. "We still need to. But today was enough." Nora looked at him. "Yes. Good night." "Good night." They went inside. The door closed. And this time, Nora noticed, though she could not explain why, when the door closed, she felt as if she were inside. In the morning, the Duke knocked. Early, the sun had not fully risen, gray light filtered through the window. Nora was awake. Lately, she no longer slept fully, not because of thoughts, but because of the sense that something was about to end. Like a sentence nearing completion, waiting for its final word. "Come in." The Duke opened the door. He did not step inside, he remained at the threshold, looking at Nora. "News from Harlan." Nora straightened. Cecily? Cecily is safe. But the man has made his move. Someone will come to the manor tonight, to gather information. Possibly more. What will we do? The Duke stepped in. Closed the door. Looked at Nora, directly, without calculation. I need to ask you something. First. Ask. Do you want to leave? Nora had not expected that. What? You can go to Cecily. Today, now. Harlan will arrange it. You owe nothing to this house, this danger, to me. You can leave. Nora looked at him. The Duke continued. A year ago, I did not ask. Yesterday, I did not ask. Now I am asking, truly, only for your answer. No strategy, no plan. Silence. Nora stood. Walked to the window. Looked outside, the cold morning, frost covering the stones, the distant woods still. If I leave, she said, what happens? We manage with Harlan. It becomes harder, but it can be done. And you? I stay here. Alone. That is something I am used to. Nora turned. Looked at him, that face she had memorized in a year. The breakfast face, the library face, the face across from her in the carriage yesterday. Closed, controlled, but now readable. Something inside it could be seen. I don't want to leave you, Nora said. The Duke did not speak. This, Nora said, is a choice. Made with knowledge, with my eyes open. Nora. A year ago, I couldn't choose. Yesterday, I couldn't choose. Now I am choosing. She paused. I am staying. The Duke looked at her. For a long time. That measuring gaze, but now there was something else in it. Like the sound of a wall cracking, not heard, but felt. All right, he said. Then let's talk. They went to the study. Harlan was there, he had arrived during the night. A map lay on the table, the plan of the manor. Several points were marked. The man is coming tonight, Harlan said. Likely with 2 others. He's looking for information, documents, correspondence. Not directly about you, Hale. But something that could destroy you. Where will he search? The Duke asked. The study. Possibly the library. The Duke looked at the map. We lock the doors. They will open them. Then we wait. The Duke lifted his head. Inside. Harlan frowned. That's risky. Waiting outside is riskier. This is my ground. Here, I have the advantage. Harlan started to speak. Then stopped. Nora looked at the map. Her finger rested on a point, the small room between the library and the study. Here, she said. Both men looked. Between the library and the study. It has doors to both. Nora did not lift her finger. If 2 men come, one will go to the library, one to the study. From this room, you can hear both. Silence. That's correct, Harlan said. His voice had changed, not surprise, but recognition. How do you know that? Because I've lived here for a year, Nora said. And you learn the place you live in. The Duke looked at her. That look, but now there was something more. Not quite pride. Something quieter. All right, the Duke said. We wait in that room. The night was long. The small room was dark, they had not lit a candle, the lamp was out. Nora leaned against the wall, the Duke beside her. Harlan was outside, in the garden, unseen. Silence. There were silences like this, deep, not heavy. Two people in the same darkness, waiting for the same thing. Why did you really stay? The Duke asked. A whisper, the kind that did not break the room's quiet. Nora thought. I told you. You did. But there's something beneath it. Nora looked, his face was indistinct in the dark, but present. You ask like that too. As if there's always something underneath. Yes. Why? The Duke paused. Because for a year, there's been something in this house. I can't fully define it. But if it goes, if you go, that thing goes too. And I don't want to be without it anymore. Nora breathed in. That, she said quietly, is a very large thing to say. I know. Could you have said it a year ago? No. Yesterday? Maybe. But it wouldn't have been enough. Yesterday, other things stood in front. And now? Is it enough? The Duke turned toward her. In the darkness. I don't know. But if I don't say it, it will never be enough. Nora was about to speak. A sound came from outside. They both fell silent. There were footsteps, careful, slow. The boards of the library spoke. Then the study door, metallic, faint. Two people. Nora had been right. The Duke looked at Nora. She inclined her head. I know, I'm ready. The Duke stood. He opened the door toward the library. Entered. Nora opened the other door, toward the study. There was a man in the study. He had a bag, was going through the desk, quick, careful. Professional. When he heard Nora, he turned. He had not expected to see a woman. That 1 second of surprise. It was enough. Nora closed the door, loud, deliberate. Harlan was outside, he would hear. The man stepped forward. Shout, Nora said. If you shout, the Duke is in the library with your friend. And Harlan is in the garden. The man stopped. Put back what you took, Nora said. Slowly. He looked, measured. Then bent. Placed the papers back on the desk. The door opened, the Duke entered. From the library. He was not alone, he brought the other man with him. They both looked. It was over. By the time Harlan entered, everything was finished. The two men were bound, Harlan's men had arrived quickly. The study was in disarray, but nothing was damaged. The Duke looked at Nora. Are you all right? I am. Harlan looked at both of them. Then at the Duke. Tonight is done. Tomorrow, he talks, who sent him, why? We can close the Parliament matter. Cecily? She's free now. The threat is gone. Nora heard it, the threat is gone, and something inside her loosened. Something that had been stretched, carrying, tired. Like a thread, tight, and now released. Thank you, Nora said. To Harlan. Harlan shrugged. Without you, we wouldn't have thought of that room. This house is mine, Nora said. Then paused, hearing her own words. For a year. Harlan laughed, short, real. Then left. The room emptied. Only the Duke and Nora remained. The scattered desk, a paper on the floor, an open drawer. The room carried the traces of the night. The Duke picked up the paper. Placed it back. Nora closed the drawer. At the same time, small, unintentional, unaware of each other. Then they noticed. Silence. Earlier, Nora said, you said something in the dark. Yes. Does it still stand? The Duke looked at her. It always did. I just couldn't say it. Nora leaned against the edge of the desk. I'll say something too. I couldn't say it in the dark. The Duke waited. I will stay, Nora said. But this time, I have conditions. Say them. The mail will not be monitored. The carriages will move without permission. The door will not be locked, ever. She paused. And if you know something that concerns me, you will tell me. No strategy, no, there was no time. Agreed. All of it? All of it. Nora looked at him. That easy? It's not easy, the Duke said. But it's right. Silence. Nora looked toward the window. Dawn was breaking, the night was over. Frost had melted, the road was visible. One more thing, she said. Say it. What you said in the dark, she paused. It applies to me too. That thing. The thing that would go if it left. The Duke stepped closer. Nora turned. They looked at each other, in the morning light, in the disordered room, at the end of a long night. Nothing large needed to be said. It had already been said, in the dark, in a whisper, at the wrong time but in the right way. The Duke extended his hand. Nora took it. 6 months later. April. The door was open. The front door, the great oak door of the manor. It had been open since morning, and it would remain open until evening. This was how it was now. It had been this way through the winter, and it remained so in spring, and it would continue to be so. Nora had said it in the first week. The Duke had not objected. It was a small thing. And it was not. Cecily was in the garden. She had been there for 2 weeks, Nora had invited her, Cecily had come, and once she came, she had not left. Mrs. Pelham had grown used to it. The cook now prepared meals not for 2, but for 3. The Duke said nothing. Nora offered no explanation. Some things did not require one. Cecily was by the stone wall, working with the soil, her hands covered in dirt, her knees grass-stained. Nora watched from the window. What is she planting? The Duke asked. Nora turned. The Duke had come to stand beside her, she had not noticed when. That, too, was how it was now. When he entered a room, it was felt, not in footsteps, but in the way something filled. Lavender, Nora said. I told her where, she will plant it. Will lavender take in this soil? Cecily said it would. Is Cecily a gardener? No. But she is stubborn. Nora smiled. Sometimes those are the same thing. The Duke looked, first at Cecily, then at Nora. There was something on his face now Nora could read. It had once been closed, now it was simply quiet. Silence and closure were not the same thing. I heard from Harlan, the Duke said. What did he say? The Parliament matter is closed. Completely. The final signature was given yesterday. Nora took that in. Placed it somewhere inside, not to feel relief, but to understand that it was over. Sometimes accepting that something was truly finished took time. Cecily is entirely free now, the Duke said. No threat, no surveillance. I know. Nora looked out the window. I told her. What did she say? She said she would plant lavender. The Duke laughed. Short, real, unexpected. Nora was still not used to it, the Duke laughing. It had happened a few times in 6 months, and each time the room felt slightly different afterward. In the afternoon, the mail arrived. Mrs. Pelham brought it, handed it directly to Nora, without mediation. That, too, was how it was now. The mail came, Nora received it. No one opened it, no one inspected it. There were 2 letters. One was from Cecily. She wrote on the days she went out. It had become a habit between them. Nora smiled and slipped it into her pocket. The other was from a name she did not recognize. She opened it. Her face did not change as she read, but something inside her shifted. She folded the letter, placed it on the table. Sat down. The Duke came out of the study. He left the door open now, that too was new. He saw Nora. "What is it?" "A job offer." The Duke waited. "In London. A house manager position, real this time, full-time." Nora looked at the table. "A good offer. A good family, good conditions." Silence. The Duke entered. Sat across from her. Looked at the table, not at the letter. "What do you think?" he asked. "I don't know yet." "When do you have to answer?" "A week." The Duke raised his head. Looked at her, directly, without calculation. That look had changed in 6 months. It was more open now. What lay inside it was more visible. "Do you want to go?" Nora thought. Honestly, without rushing. "No," she said. "Are you sure?" "Yes." "Why?" Nora looked out the window. Cecily was still in the garden, now standing, brushing her hands, looking at something in the distance. The woods, perhaps, or something else Nora could not see. "Because," Nora said, "a year ago I came to this house because I had to. 6 months ago, I chose to stay. Now I am choosing again." She turned. A place chosen 3 times becomes something else. What does it become? Nora looked at him. "Home," she said. That evening, the Duke came to the library. Nora was seated, not with the book marked by his mother and the Duke, but something she had chosen herself. The margins were now filled, with Nora's handwriting. Small notes, objections, agreements. The Duke looked at the shelf. "You added something new." "I bought it yesterday. In town." He took it down, thin, dark bound. "What is it?" "A law book." Nora glanced at the page. Harlan mentioned something, about how certain testimonies were handled during the Parliament process. I was curious. The Duke held the book. Looked at it. "Law?" I was curious. He returned it to the shelf. Then sat in the chair beside Nora, the one he always took. That, too, had become a habit. Silence. But this silence was full, the books, the lamp, the wind outside, the quiet of 2 people near each other. "I want to ask something," the Duke said. "Ask." "Are you happy?" Nora looked at him. The question was unexpected. The Duke did not usually ask such things. He observed, rather than asked. "Why are you asking?" "Because a year ago I could have asked and didn't. 6 months ago I could have asked and didn't." He paused. "Now I am asking." Nora thought. "Yes," she said. "For today, yes. For today. Happiness changes every day. Today, yes. Cecily is in the garden, the mail came, there is a good book in front of me, and you are in the chair across from me." She paused. "That is enough. That is a great deal, actually." The Duke looked at her. "I am too," he said. "For today." Nora smiled, short, real. The Duke opened his book. Nora returned to hers. The lamp burned. Outside, the wind passed, the windowpanes trembled slightly. Somewhere far off, an owl called. 2 people. 1 room. The same silence. An open door. Late that night, Cecily came inside. Her hands were clean now, but there was soil in her hair, she had not noticed. Nora did not say anything. "The lavender will take," Cecily said. "The gardener was wrong. I was right." "I knew," Nora said. Cecily looked at the Duke. "Good night." "Good night, Miss Cecily." Cecily left, the sound of her steps on the stairs, a door closing. Nora returned to her book. The Duke turned back to his. The lamp burned. And the manor, that great, grey, stone manor, which had been a cage a year ago, a choice 6 months ago, and now a home, breathed quietly. A month later, the lavender took root. Cecily had been right. The gardener admitted it. The Duke still objected, out of habit, not because he believed otherwise. Nora heard them both. Said nothing. Sometimes, the best thing was to know the truth, and simply smile. Thank you for listening to the story all the way to the end. Please tell us which city you're watching from and what the story made you feel. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss new stories.